So today's webinar, it's part 2, how BA skills can help your career. So in tonight's part, of the webinar, we're going to talk a little bit about the value of BA certification, that being business analysis certification. And I'll talk a little bit also about, I got a lot of questions ever since the pandemic started about some advice, career advice. And one of the questions I get quite often is, should I pursue the PMP or the PMI-PBA first? I also get this one a lot. Should I go for the PMI-PBA or the CBAP? So I'll talk a little bit about business analysis from the IBA perspective, as well as from the PMI perspective. And then I'll also compare those BA certifications for you. And as I talk about these topics, I'm going to weave in a little bit about my origin story as well, and tell you a little bit about how I ended up where I am in my career right now. So getting started, I know we've probably all read an article somewhere or another that said certifications lead to a higher earning potential. So I'm not going to bore you with those stats in this presentation. I'm going to look at it from a different perspective for a second. COVID has really flipped the world upside down and has probably thrown each and every one of us for a loop one way or another. And, while a higher earning potential is great, unfortunately, there are many of us that are currently looking for work. So like I said, because of this, many project professionals are taking a closer look at certifications. And one of the common questions that I have been getting from folks recently who have been looking for an edge in their careers is, should I pursue the PMP or the PMI-PBA first? And like I said, I got a lot of these through LinkedIn, and so much so that I actually created a short video already that's up on my blog with similar information that I will be sharing with you right now. And the funny thing is, one of the main reasons I hear for people not getting business analysis certified is this. I hear this, they say BA certifications aren't in demand yet, so I'm going to wait until employers are asking for it. Meaning we don't see either the PMI-PBA or the CBAP commonly as one of the requirements when applying for jobs, but everyone is asking for the PMP. So the logical thing to think is that's what I should target first, right? Well, wouldn't you rather be in this situation and stand out among the crowd for having a BA certification? Or would you rather be in this situation where we wait until everyone else has it first and then stand out for not having it, which is kind of where we are with the PMP right now. I feel like everyone in the world is PMP certified. So a few stats to go with that. As of February 2020, there were approximately 14,000 certified business analysis practitioners. And this includes both the CBAPs as well as the PMI-PBAs. So the CBAPs, again, that's the one that's offered by IIBA, the International Institute for Business Analysis. And PMI's version of the business analysis certification is the PMI-PBA, which stands for the Professional in Business Analysis. So you could actually be one in 14,000 worldwide. That's pretty impressive. So to compare, there are currently over, I think, 1.4 million PMP certified around the world. So it's much more difficult to stand out with the PMP. You're really just playing catch up at this point. So let me ask you another question over here. If you were a hiring manager and you had 2 business analyst candidates with equal experience, but one of them had a BA certification and the other one did not, so who would you pick? Candidate A or candidate B? Who would you guys pick, guys, if you guys were the hiring manager or recruiter? Again, these 2 had equal experience. Depends. Look, most of you guys said A, right? Yeah, A, all the way across. You got it. So, at PMI Toronto, we ran a lot of these events titled 360 View of a Career in Business Analysis. We did this every year for the first few years when we started. And we asked recruiters and hiring managers this exact question that I just posed to you guys. And time again, they actually said the one with the certification. And I totally agree. There will be other factors. I'm saying that if they had equal experience, then which one would it be? So usually it's easier to stand out with the certification. Now, what this means then is while some postings, they do have BA certification preferred over here, like as they see it, the one that I have up on the screen. But even if employers are not requesting a BA certification, If you have one, it may still provide you with the upper edge. Again, if you're up against somebody who has equal experience as you, and one has the certification and the other does not, there's a higher chance that you'll probably get picked if you are certified. So from personal experience, I mean, I've benefited in my career in being an early adopter of the BA certifications. I mean, I can certainly attest to the fact that I would not be where I am right now without them. When I became PMP certified, that was back in 2008 now. And I didn't have recruiters contacting me because even back then in 2008, so many already had it. Now, when I became a certified business analyst, I had recruiters and hiring managers contact me to see if I was interested in potential opportunities, because again, there just aren't that many practitioners that have the BA certifications. And this is really when my career took off and kind of took a different and really unexpected but exciting path. Okay, I do want to make it clear though, I'm not discounting the PMP certification. If you are targeting project management positions, you're likely already at a disadvantage if you don't have the PMP certification. However, let's just say that you're looking to get noticed, you want to stand out among the crowd, and you are open to business analysis opportunities, and you have the business analysis work experience. A business analysis certification is a much easier way to stand out. And, I honestly think the world right now is oversaturated with super experienced PMP certified project managers, whereas the pool of super experienced certified business analysts is so small that it would be significantly easier to stand out. And that's what I'm saying. So out of curiosity, those of you guys, I'm assuming most of us here are probably project managers, but how many of you started your career as a business analyst? Anyone here start their career as a business analyst and then shifted into project management? Niraj, you, yeah. I'm willing to bet there's actually quite a few of you. You did project management work and now you're halfway through business now. Oh, cool. You went the other way. That's amazing. I love that. Being now with the CAPN, yes. Developer to project management. Okay. So, those of you that said you went from business analysis to project management, like anyone care to say why they switched? Was it because you're chasing the big bucks? You're a technical writer before? Yes, chasing the money, Edward. Expertise, okay. En route from PM to BA, yay. I love hearing that. The opportunity was given, okay. And I get it. When I'm suggesting those of you who may be project managers right now and suggesting possibility of going into business analysis roles, I know for a lot of us, it might feel like taking a step back. I mean, I hope it doesn't feel that way, but I know for some of us, it will be. So years ago, I used to think that business analysis was a stepping stone into project management. Yes, even I thought that one day. So even though I was a business analyst or a hybrid PMBA, I mentioned earlier that I went for my PMP before the BA certifications because I actually never thought that I was staying as a business analyst. And at one point in my career, I fully crossed over into project management. And while I was 100% capable of doing the work, I realized that my heart actually belonged to business analysis. And it's where my passion lies. And anyone who has met me tells me they see this passion or business analysis nerdiness, whichever way you look at that, come through when I'm talking about business analysis. And oh my God, I just realized there's probably going to be a meme that comes out of this webinar. Find a girl that looks at you the way that Cheryl looks at business analysis. So I actually crossed back over into business analysis. I remember begging my manager saying, okay, I made a mistake. I don't want to be a full-on project manager. I really, really miss my business analysis work. And I went back to that. Anyways, I digress. Let me talk about it. In addition to becoming BA certified, though, looking back, one of the other things that propelled my career forward are the contacts that I met through local chapters. And instead of calling it networking, I actually like to say that we should invest in being part of a local community, like the local PMI chapters that many of us are already a part of. And yes, it can be time consuming, but my investment in offering my time to local chapters has opened so many doors for me. And I would say that, 95% of them, I didn't even know were out there. I have been investing my time into local chapters for, I think, over 10 years now. And it was through a connection that I met at IB Toronto that introduced me to somebody that was looking for a certified business analysis instructor. And it was probably only maybe a couple months after I became BA certified too. I remember being at a networking event on a Wednesday night. I had a phone interview come Friday, a demo teach on Monday. They decided to proceed on the spot. I signed the contract on Tuesday. So less than a week from that networking event, that's how I started down this journey into teaching business analysis and project management courses. And I'll tell you, when I joined the chapter, when I started volunteering with IB Toronto at that time, I mean, that was never, ever on my radar. I didn't join and volunteer at the chapter because I was looking for teaching opportunities or really anything at that time. I was already employed. I was working with a consulting firm, and I joined and started volunteering because I was just passionate about business analysis and found it interesting to be among like-minded individuals. So I'm curious, like you guys who are part of your chapters, how many of you guys are volunteers, and why did you do it? What is it that you love about volunteering and being part of the PMI chapter that you're from? Again, we've got folks from 5 different chapters online right now. I know it might be a lot to type. I'll give you guys a second. I mean, I always love to hear how people got started at chapters and just to hear about where they are right now. Fun and meeting people, giving back to the community. Yeah, new opportunities, meeting people. Good, absolutely. And that's kind of, again, like where I started. So you also may have read in the bio, or and Haley shared it earlier, I was one of 4 core global authors of the PMI Guide to Business Analysis, which is what the PMI-PBA certification is based from. I don't know if you guys realize, but that opportunity stemmed from me volunteering with PMI Toronto and starting the business analysis community here. And again, that was never, ever on my radar. It wasn't something that I was targeting, nor was it even an opportunity that I even knew that was out there when I started down that path, creating the BA community within PMI Toronto. I was just a hybrid PMBA, and I wanted to create a community with other PMs and BAs. And here's one more example that's super recent. Someone that I had met through PMI Toronto's business analysis community again. This was maybe 4 years ago now. They have recently reached out to me in August of 2020 about offering my self-paced BA courses at their organization. And we ended up signing the contract a couple of weeks ago. So again, through contacts at the local chapter. So I've also helped countless others over the last 10 years find exciting opportunities for them. And this is really what makes it a community. So there was someone that I volunteered with at PMI Toronto. They were part of my team at the BA community, and I had referred them to PMI Global when they were looking for volunteers to write the PMI-PBA questions for the exam. So they were flown to PMI headquarters in Philadelphia to collaborate with a team of global volunteers to write PMI-PBA questions. So I mean, how nerdy cool is that, right? So there are those that I have met through the chapter, many that have come and gone, and sometimes they only show up again when they need something from the chapter, like maybe they're currently out of work or whatnot. But then there are many more that have been there the entire time, meaning that it's not that they necessarily need anything from the chapter. They're just here again to meet, network with other people. They help others. And it could either be by helping to host these types of events, like Haley and Luciano are here doing tonight, helping out. Thank you. And, they could be here to just lend support, provide advice to others. Then if one day they do become the person in need, those are always the people that we help first. And those are always the ones that I help first. And this is what I mean by being part of a local community. I mean, it's really much, much, much more than networking. It's just being a part of something. It's giving something, and you getting something. You do get something in return, one way or another, whether you really anticipated it or not. And I don't have facts to prove any of this, but I actually do believe that there are many more unposted positions than posted, especially right now. I mean, that's always true, but I'm actually talking through COVID times right now. I can speak from personal experience that, interestingly enough, it's weird that I think that I've been approached with new opportunities during COVID more so than prior to COVID, which again, I thought that was really bizarre in the beginning, but folks that are not part of my network, often not even as secondary contacts on LinkedIn, they have been contacting me about experienced BA positions. and some not even local. Now that most of us are working from home anyways, I guess it didn't really matter where you're located geographically. So how are they finding me? They were searching for things like my BA certifications on LinkedIn. And actually, many of them have been looking to fill hybrid PMBA positions out there. And I also found that many of these positions were not actually posted on the company websites either. So I think because, the reason why that's happening is there are so many more people right now that are looking for work. It's almost easier for hiring managers to do targeted searches to find someone with the skill set they're looking for, rather than posting and having an influx of resumes coming in and having to filter through them. And because of COVID, there's a higher probability that the person they are targeting may actually be available for work. So I had someone who owns a small boutique consulting firm, again, who wasn't part of my network, contact me and say they were looking for a super experienced BA. And their exact words were, I think, a BA wizard. And they had originally posted the position and received hundreds of applications, but none of them really stood out to them. So he started to do some LinkedIn searches, and he was asking if I knew of any certified business analysts. He actually said the market for PMs had unfortunately cooled down a bit, and he was getting many more requests for senior business analysts lately, or people with, I guess, dual hybrid, both PM as well as the BA skills, so they can use the same resource. So I've been referring people that have been in my network or within my community for these positions. And, like I said, I promise you, if you give something to the community, I can almost guarantee that you will be rewarded one way or another. And oftentimes in the most unexpected ways, not to mention the lifelong friends that you're going to meet along the way, some who have become some of my biggest cheerleaders. And I see Mitchell F. over there. Hey, Mitchell.
Hi, Cheryl.
Talking about you. So another growing trend that I do see in many organizations is that project resources are expected to be cross-functional. So what this means is that even though someone is titled a project manager, they're often not expected to, they're expected not only to perform their project management duties, they're also possibly expected to perform business analysis activities as well. And I find this is especially true as organizations shift to adaptive approaches like Agile, where you're delivering smaller increments of functionality at a time. So again, regardless of your job title, I find that project professionals are being asked to not only manage a project, but to also elicit, specify, manage requirements. And the more skills, tools, and techniques you have in your toolkit, the more marketable you are, and the more valuable you are to your organization. So Stan, you're already experiencing it, right? And I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate as well, right? So I recently stumbled across this article that says, no specific skill will get you ahead in the future, but this way of thinking will. This article was dated June 15th of this year. And in it, it said that the future belongs to generalists, in that our world is changing so rapidly that those with more tools in their possession will better navigate the uncertainty. Many forward-looking companies look for multifunctional experience when hiring, and this is essential for large organizations like Google, for example, where employees jump from team to team and from role to role. So what this means is you don't want to be a one-trick pony. And a one-trick pony is someone that is skilled in only one area. You will never be encountered with the exact same scenario twice. So you may be working with different stakeholders under different contexts in a different environment. And I find that as project professionals, we need to be able to adapt to any situation. So the more tools and techniques, again, that you have within your toolbox, the better you will be able to adapt. And that means if you're currently working as a business analyst, maybe pick up some project management skills. If you currently work as a project manager, maybe pick up some business analysis skills. Or if you work in waterfall, pick up some agile skills. These are all complementary skills that are in demand by employers. So here's another few slides on standing out among the crowd. I did a quick search on LinkedIn for people that had PMPs in the GTA. I did it, I think yesterday before this presentation. And I got about 30,000 search results returned for PMPs in the Greater Toronto area is what GTA stands for if you guys aren't local. So I did a similar search now. This time I searched for PBA or CBAP in the GTA, and look at that. It's already narrowed it down quite a bit. So you could be 1 in 377 if you have one of the BA certifications. Now look at this. I then searched for PMP and either PBA or CBAP in the GTA, and only 464 search results showed up. So now you could be 1 in 464 certified hybrid PMBAs in the GTA. So that's one way, again, of kind of standing out within the crowd. So Gina, I just caught a question off the corner of my eye. What would the job title look like regarding not being a one-trick pony? So oftentimes they're looking for hybrids. So, or even if you read even if the posting says project manager, oftentimes if you actually read the posting, you'll see that requirements or something related to eliciting requirements and understanding stakeholder needs, that's still in there. Those to me are business analysis skills. I mean, how many of you guys, I think I asked you guys this in webinar 1, who work as a project manager right now, maybe titled a project manager, but how many of you actually do things like elicit requirements, take the time to have to understand what your stakeholders' needs are and figure out ways to meet your stakeholders' needs? So as part of your role as a project manager, how many of you guys actually perform business analysis activities? Absolutely, definitely. Yeah, and I think that's kind of what I'm referring to all the time, partially. Yeah, you too. Okay. And same for me, right? So regardless of the job title, I think a lot of the times people are still asking for folks that have both skill sets, or a lot of the times I see experienced project manager / business analyst even out there as well. So having both those skill sets will definitely benefit you. I believe it could be tricky because they need to be a work experience requirement, which strict PA may not have. Thoughts? Okay, hold that thought. I actually have that. The answer to that's coming up really soon about getting the BA work experience and so forth. Okay, so this leads us to the next question. So this is another question that I've been getting a lot from folks right now. Like I said, especially through the COVID era, folks reaching out via LinkedIn. So which business analysis certification is right for me, the CBAP or the PMI-PBA? So again, the CBAP, which stands for the Certified Business Analysis Professional, it's a business analysis certification offered by the IIBA, so the International Institute for Business Analysis. And the equivalent, again, on the PMI side, it's the PMI-PBA, which stands for the Professional in Business Analysis. So how many of you guys were here for webinar 1? Do you remember my food analogies? How many of you guys enjoy my food analogies? Yeah, I got a smiley face there. Yeah. So those of you who attended the first part of the webinar series already know that I love to cook and eat, and I somehow always find ways to incorporate food into my examples. So yes, here we go again. I'm going to use food to explain the difference between IABA's version of business analysis and PMI's version of business analysis. And by the way, this was an actual pizza I made while I was quarantine cooking. And Carol, yes, there is a replay available for part 1. It's on my website if you wanted to check that out under, I think if you look up like upcoming events and resources, you'll see a link in there. Yay, I got pizza again. That's right. So yeah, I actually made this pizza while I was quarantine cooking. So whether I sliced my pizza this way or this way, it's the same pizza, right? You remember me, guys, right? So it doesn't matter which way I slice my pizza, like it's the same pizza, right? Whether I did the slices or if I did the rectangular or the square slices. So let's just say that the pizza is business analysis. Yes, can you see where I'm going with this? Now let's just say that this is how PMI decided to slice business analysis or slice the pizza. And the PMI Guide to Business Analysis therefore sliced business analysis activities into 35 different business analysis processes that are grouped into 6 knowledge areas and 6 process groups. Now, let's say that IBA decided to slice business analysis this way. So IBA sliced business analysis into 30 processes and 6 knowledge areas. But at the core, it's still the same business analysis activities, similar to how it's still the same pizza under there, right? Regardless of how I sliced it. PMI is not saying that we do business analysis completely different than how IABA is describing business analysis. At the core, it's still the same thing. So they may, however, use different terminology to describe the business analysis processes, like how some people say tomato and some people say tomato. They're really just describing the same thing. For example, I've heard people say to me that the difference between PMI and IBA is that PMI does not focus on pre-project activities, like business casing activities. They only look at business analysis from the perspective of projects or within the context of projects. And that is just not true whatsoever. So these pre-project strategic business analysis activities, like business casing, is included in the strategy analysis knowledge area in IABA's BABOK guide. So in their business analysis body of knowledge, it's called strategy analysis. Now, on the PMI side, it's described in the needs assessment knowledge area. That's in the PMI guide to business analysis. So each organization is just calling it something different. So very similar, like tomato, tomato. Diane, passing. Yes, you need water in a pot. You got it. So let's compare the two certifications right now. So again, I'm comparing the PMI-PBA, which is offered by PMI, compared to the CBAP, which is offered by the IABA. So those that are hybrid PMBAs, or those that are already PMP certified or have any of the other PMI certifications, they are favoring the PMI-PBA. And I mean, I don't think that's a surprise. It makes complete sense because, well, PMI has also aligned their terminology across all PMI standards. They also all share a common lexicon. So you wouldn't have to relearn any of the terminology by studying any of the PMI standards. The PMI-PBA is also structured similar to the PMBOK guide, or at least the PMBOK 6th edition. And I told you that, I think, in webinar 1. The CBAP is more popular among what I'm going to call the peer BAs. Now, these are the ones that are like career business analysts and have zero desire to ever cross over into project management. So now let's take a look at the qualifications. PMI recently made a change in July of this year, so it's super recent, to count number of months instead of number of hours with respect to work experience. And this change, they made it across the board for all of their PMI certifications, so including the PMP. It was not just the PMI-PBA. So for the PMI-PBA, you need 36 months of business analysis work experience, which equates to approximately 3 years. And that's assuming you have a bachelor's degree. I think it's 60 months if you do not have a bachelor's degree. Now on the CBAP side, you need at least 7,500 hours of BA work experience, which equates to about 4 years. And this is assuming that you've been operating as like a full business analyst and not a hybrid. So now let me explain why the counting of months versus hours may make a difference, and a significant difference maybe for some of you guys that may be operating as hybrid PMBAs. Okay, let's take a look at this. So let's just say that you were working on project ABC as a hybrid PMBA. And let's just say that it was a 50-50 split, like 50% of your time was on project management work and 50% of your time was working on business analysis activities. And this project spanned between January 2019 to December 2019. So we're talking 12 months. So this here would count as 12 months of business analysis work experience towards your PMI-PBA, but only 1,000 hours of BA work experience towards your CBAP, which equates to about 6 months. So you see, it's not the same thing when you count months. It's actually, it works to your advantage versus counting hours. And to do the calculation, I think I did 12 months. I worked it out to be approximately 2,000 hours. And that's assuming that you have a 40-hour work week and 50 weeks per year, and assuming that you take 2 weeks off for vacation. So is the BA experience mandatory for the PBA if you are a PMP? So yes, it's still mandatory. So you need to have BA work experience. And, you know, let me clarify what that means. It's 36 months of BA work experience, meaning 36 months where you've done business analysis work. So let's just say that you were working as a hybrid PMBA on this particular project. Again, you maybe only spent 50% of your time doing business analysis work on project ABC over that last year from January 2019 to December 2020, but that still counts as 12 months of business analysis work experience. Does that make sense? So you could see now that they're counting months versus hours, it could make a significant difference in terms of whether you could qualify or not with respect to the PMI-PBA. And again, the way that they count the hours, this was something that was done for the PMP certification for all of their PMI certifications. And the way they compared it on the PMI side, they explained it as this is kind of the same way as you would describe your experience on a resume, right? You wouldn't count the number of hours that you worked as a project manager and hours that you worked as a business analyst. You would just typically say, hey, I operated as a project manager / business analyst between this time frame to that time frame. Now, I do want to caution this. What I'm not suggesting that, hey, over this year that I worked on this project ABC, I did like 2 business analysis activities during that time period, and I'm going to count the full 12 months. Obviously, be reasonable with that, and you very well could still be audited, and someone still needs to be able to verify that work experience. So depending again on your situation, it may be much easier to qualify for the PMI-PBA versus the CBAP, especially if you're a hybrid PMBA. So both certifications, though, you do need 35 hours of BA training to qualify, and it doesn't really matter if it's the PBA or the CBAP. As of February 2020, there were about 4,180 PMI-PBAs and 9,931 CBAPs. But the CBAP has been around for a lot longer than the PMI-PBA. I think it has about 10 years on the PMI-PBA. And these numbers, I had pulled them from PMI Today for the PMI-PBA number, and the CBAP number, I had pulled it from the certification registry on IBA's website. Now, the month-over-month growth rate, it's the same, 1%, approximately 1% anyways, on both sides of the fence. The recertification qualifications: to recertify for the PMI-PBA, you need 60 PDUs in a 3-year period, and you need 60 CDUs in a 3-year period for the CBAP. Now, IBA calls them CDUs, continuing development units, which again is really just a case of tomato, same thing as PMI's professional development units. The recertification process is also much easier when your certifications are all under the same PMI umbrella. So, those of you who may have more than one PMI certification right now, you'll realize you can double dip a lot of the same PDUs, meaning you can apply that same PDU to multiple PMI certifications and not have to report in 2 different places either. So let's just say that if you're PMP certified and also became PMI-PBA certified, you do not need 120 PDUs in a three-year period. You can double count most of them. It's also a bit more cost effective too if your certifications are under the same PMI umbrella, because although you don't need to be a member to recertify for either the PMI-PBA or the CBAP, members do get a discount on recertification. And again, anyone who's recertified their PMP would know that as well, right? So if you already have the PMP, you wouldn't need to also become a member of the IBA, which kind of takes us to the last point that I have over here. Let's just compare the membership. PMI is a much larger organization with many more resources than the IBA has. So with respect to membership perks, I think PMI has the advantage here, although one of the cool things that IBA has that PMI doesn't is you do get access to a list of BA publications. There's like 1,000 BA books on there that you do have access to digitally. So I know I saw a whole bunch of things coming through the chat window. I haven't seen them all yet, so I'll let Haley ask those in a little bit. So I'm just going to close this off and open it up to Q&A. So let's just do a really quick recap of the things we covered in this webinar. I started off by showing you how you can stand out among the crowd with a BA certification. And then we talked about how having a BA certification can still be advantageous even if a job posting does not specify that you would need a BA certification to apply for it. I also stressed the importance of being part of a community like the PMI Chapters, and how it's helped me in my career and how I've helped others over the years that I've met through the PMI Chapters. I then talked about the importance of being skilled in multiple areas, like in both project management and business analysis, so that we are not one-trick ponies. I then described the differences, or rather similarities, right, in how PMI and IBA describes business analysis activities. And of course, I used another food analogy. What can I say? Food analogies are my thing. I then finished up by comparing the PMI-PBA with the CBAP. So based on your unique situation, I'm hoping this will provide enough guidance to assist you on your journey. So that takes us to the end. So again, thank you for joining us. Right before we do Q&A, I have the PDU information up on the screen again. I made note that the PDU codes are, they're both zeros in there this time around. I know last time we had some difficulties logging it. And again, if anyone is interested in PMI-PBA certification, I am partnered with PMI Lakeshore, Ontario, PMI Toronto, PMI Canada's Technology Triangle, PMI Canada's West Coast chapter on a virtual self-paced PMI-PBA bootcamp course. And I'm hoping it will be available via PMI Northern Alberta chapter very soon. We are working on it. By the second webinar, you probably have a bit of a sense of my teaching style by now. So if you're looking for the boring slides with a lot of text, don't sign up because you're not going to like it. I love pictures. I love food. I love analogies. And I hit you with multiple examples and analogies to help you understand the materials. All right, Haley, I'm going to turn it back to you for some Q&A.
Perfect. Thanks, Cheryl. Okay, so you did miss a couple questions we'll go back to start.
Yeah.
And if anybody else has any questions, if you just want to put them in the chat box there, we'll be sure to get to them. So the first one, I already have a BA certificate from 2014 and later became a certified PMP. Can I count that certificate time as a 35 hours or do I need a do-over?
So you have to, so the BA certificate you didn't, so meaning you took a BA course in the past, right? For the 35 hours, I'm assuming that's the question. There depends on how long ago. So I don't have on the top of my head, but I believe it has to have been done. I'm tempted to say the last 10 years, I think. But you'll have to, I defer to the PMI-PBA handbook to take a look at the, specifically around that hours requirement. So it was a 2-year certificate course, but how long ago did you do it?
I think it was in 2014 they mentioned.
Yeah, so if it is a 10-year time period, then I think it's fine, but just double check it. If it was like a 5-year time period, then that might be too long ago. So I defer to the PMI-PBA handbook, which if you Google it, you'll be able to download it right off of the PMI website.
For PMP education, they've extended the timeline to be longer. So I agree with Cheryl to double check, but I think there's more flexibility than there used to be.
Okay, perfect. Then it should be the same. Usually they have all of their, if it's extended on the PMP side, then it should be the same. But again, always check the handbook.
Perfect. Thank you, Mitchell and Cheryl. All right. How do I handle being on bench this year? Typically, PMI asks for at least 3 years experience, meaning this year is a washout. Will I have to restart a 3-year period?
So is this to qualify for the PMI-PBA? No, you don't. It doesn't have to be like consecutive 3 years or anything like that. It just has to be, I think, again, 3 years, maybe, I believe it's like within the last 10 years. So 36 months of business analysis work experience within the last 10 years, I believe it is. But again, I defer to the handbook.
All right. Cheryl, I think you already mentioned this one. Can PDUs towards PMP be used towards the PBA?
Yes, you can double count a lot of them. I'm not going to say all. So there's the talent triangle, I think leadership and the strategic one, those two categories, I think they always count to every single certification, but the ones that are in the technical category, those are specific to certain certifications. So something like this one, I mean, it should qualify for both the PMP as well as the PMI-PBA. So you just have to check, but most of the time they do qualify for both. Thanks, Mitchell.
Is one certification valued more than the other in the marketplace?
Which one are you referring to? Was it the question around the PMP versus the PMI-PBA, or is it PBA versus CBAP?
I think it was that one versus the CBAP.
PBA versus the CBAP is, so no, so both of them, they are equally recognized, meaning that they're both global certifications. Okay, PBA versus CBAP, yeah. So they are both globally recognized certifications around the world. I mean, PMI is a larger organization than the IBA, and the IBA has been around long, the CBAP certification has been around longer than the PMI-PBA. But I would say in terms of, is one more prestigious than the other? No, I can't say that. They're equal. So you just have to think about, I guess, your unique situation. If you work as a hybrid, like I said, it probably makes more sense to go for the PMI-PBA. But if you're more of a career BA, then I would say it's more so on the CBAP side.
Thank you. Cheryl, we also have a request to go back to your recap slide.
Oh.
But this is just a reminder that we will send out the recordings shortly after the presentation, so you can also see the slides there. All right, I'm fairly new in the BA domain, so I am not eligible for PMI, PBA, or CBAP at the moment. But I can connect what you said about hybrid PMs, and that's exactly what my career goal is. So my question is, what possible certification can I pursue at this preliminary level?
So you want to be a hybrid. So then there are, if you don't have any of the PM or BA certifications, I mean, there are, the lower level project management certification, which is the CAP-M. Unfortunately, on the business analysis side, PMI doesn't have the entry level certificates, but IBA does. So IBA does have entry level business analysis certificates that are out there. But in terms of like, in all honesty, in my experience, whether it be the CAP-M or even the lower level business analysis certifications, again, they're not as popular, I guess. I'm not sure if they kind of give you the same edge as having something like the PMP or the CBAP or the PMI-PBA. So the only thing I can think about on that is just try to build your skill set on both sides of the fence, build your network, and again, try to have more practical experience working on those things. It doesn't even have to be necessarily in a work environment either, right? I mean, there are also other training opportunities. So if you are, let's just say, more of a project manager right now, maybe just upskilling as a business analyst, or if you're more of a business analyst right now, upskilling as a project manager. And then that way within your workplace right now, you can go ahead and hopefully start making use of more of your business analysis skills or more use of your project management skills, depending on which one you're stronger in right now.
Perfect. Okay. Are PMI-PBA contact hours offered outside of PMI, such as on LinkedIn, similar to PMP?
I'm not sure I understand that question. Can you say it again? Sorry, Haley?
Are PMI-PBA contact hours offered outside of PMI?
So contact hours, they're just BA training hours. So if you've taken any sort of business analysis course in the past, no, it does not have to be within PMI at all. Those would count. So sometimes even internally within organizations, they may have some BA courses available for you. That would count as well.
And this could be a follow-up question towards that one, Cheryl. What qualifies as business analysis experience? Can it all be within one organization, and is there required business size?
Yeah, it can be all within one organization. There's no required business size. And actually, I'll cover a lot of that in part 3. So part 3 of this webinar series, I'm actually going to talk a lot about qualifications related to the PMI-PBA certification and the application process. So I'll go over that in a bit more detail, and I'll pull out some pieces from the BA handbook.
All right. I have extensive experience as a senior BA, but took the PMP rather than the CBAP.
Yeah.
As I'm self-funded, would you recommend the PBA over another PMI designation, such as Disciplined Agile?
So I think it would depend on what types of roles you're targeting and so forth, and kind of, yeah. So if you want something more like a hybrid type thing, and then obviously like PMBA, those types of roles, then go for the BA certification. If you're specifically looking for something Agile related, then go for the Discipline Agile. Like I don't think you can go wrong with either one of those choices right now, is what I'm saying. I think they're all kind of complementary.
All right. Is there a textbook for this certification?
Yes, that's the PMI Guide to Business Analysis. So that's the one that I had the honor of co-authoring. That's one of the main textbooks. It's not the only reference material. PMI says that they don't want to, actually, this is actually the image of it right here. They don't base the exam on a single book or anything like that, which is true because a lot of it has to be based on your work experience.
Right. Can volunteering to do BA work count, or does it have to be paid work?
I Oh, that's a great question. I remember it did say something in the handbook, and off the top of my head, I don't 100% remember what it said. So I'm going to defer to the handbook for that one. I'm sorry, but I will talk about it when we get to part 3, because I will be pulling pieces from the handbook to talk about the application and everything like that.
Okay. Do I need to have a BA designation or just the experience for applying to PMI-PBA?
No, the title does not matter. No one cares about the title. So it's more so, have you been performing business analysis activities? So I think in part 1 of the webinar series, I was talking about how PMI defines who a business analyst is, right? So a business analyst is defined as anyone who performs business analysis activities, regardless of your job title. So even if you're titled a project manager, but as part of your role, like I said, you elicit requirements, you understand your stakeholders' needs, and come up with solutions to meet those needs. Those types of activities are business analysis activities. So by definition from PMI, you are operating as a business analyst. So yeah, title doesn't matter. It's focused on the work that you perform.
Thanks, Cheryl. All right, we seem to come to the end of the questions. So if anybody has a couple more questions, we still have a few minutes of time left. So you can type your questions there. Julian, what if I missed the first session to not being aware I will not be entered into the draw? Unfortunately, no. We are going to take the names from 1, 2, and 3 webinars and enter them into the draw.
Yeah, sorry. We're going to try to do the draw live on the sometime during the 3rd webinar.
All right, we got some more questions coming in, Cheryl.
The future of business analysis in 5 years, Edward. Ooh, that's a good one. So this is my hope. My hope with respect to business analysis, you know how when I asked that question earlier, how those of you who crossed over into project management and, why did you guys do that? And and the honest answer, a lot of us were chasing the big bucks, right? And a lot of the times project managers do get paid more than business analysts and so forth. But I strongly believe that now, and I find even more so in a COVID world where we are all forced to, every business is forced to pivot in one way or another. That's kind of like the new buzzword right now, pivoting. I would say that people are valuing the business analysis role and business analysis skill set a lot more. So with respect to helping an organization pivot from one business to another, I think you need the business analysis skills. You do need the project management skills, but I would say more so those business analysis skills to understand the nuances of processes and so forth and help them change. So what I'm really hoping for within the next 5 years is that people do understand the value of business analysis a lot more. And instead of having project management up here and business analysis over here, we're going to level off. That's my hope. Oh, people are asking for the claim codes. There you go.
And I'll also put the claim code in the email with the recordings just to make sure everyone has it. All right, everyone. If anybody has any last minute questions, this is your chance to ask them. Otherwise, we will see you for the 3rd webinar. Okay, how long is the exam, Cheryl?
200 questions, and I believe it's a 4-hour exam. 4, I think it is. So it's the same as the PMP.
All right, everyone. So we will end the session, and we hope to see you all in November. And
there is an online exam. Sorry, Rico. Yes. Sorry. Go ahead, Haley.
No, that's all. It's great. The more questions, the better. All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Haley. Thank you, Luch.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Carol. I've been here, Carol. Oh, glad we can help. Send me a note if you have any follow-up questions, Carol. Thanks, everyone. Did you guys crash the PMI PDU site?